Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Danielle.
And this is Fostering in Faith. We are going to be doing this episode on foster kids that we've had in the home before. And we are going to be talking about kind of the challenges and the stressors and the new challenges that come about when you have friends that you had before come back and see you again.
So we had some friends that were with us for a very long time, and then Bio family were ready to go, and things were going great. So the kids went home, and not too long ago, we actually got another phone call for the same sibling group that we had, and so they came back into our home. Right before they left last time, like I said, they had been with us for quite some time, so we had gotten through all those behaviors. They had some challenges, I'll tell you, when they got here. And so we had worked through all of them, and we were really finally working as like a cohesive family unit, and school was going well. Just all around, just was everything was going really well. And then they came back, and we had some of the same exact behaviors that we had the first time. We had elevated behaviors from one of our friends, and we had some brand new behaviors that weren't really acting out behaviors, but Nick will talk about those in just a minute, what happened with our first friend. And for all purposes of this video, our sibling group had two, so we are going to refer to sibling A, it'll be friend A and friend B.
So, when they had first gotten here, friend A and friend B, we had some health issues that we had to take care of right away. But not only did we have those health issues, like Danielle said, we had the behaviors to go along with it. We've explained to you guys before what our rules are, and they're really simple, especially for the age groups that we like to foster, because we like to keep it clear and concise. No running in the house. We use our inside voices in the house, and then we use our manners, and we kind of tie in being respectful to adults and other people into using our manners. So, all that had gone out the window. For lack of a better word, 8 months of working on those behaviors and how to cope and how to follow the rules and make sure that we're not doing any of the running and screaming and yelling at each other in the house. And like I said, 8 months to get rid of those, and then back with Bio family for 3 months, and everything was regressed back to the way that it was when that sibling group had initially come into our house. So that requires a lot of patience. Again, you have to remember that your rules and training them to be accustomed to what you do and how you run your house is probably not going to be what they're used to and how they were raised. So you have to remember that you have to be patient, you have to be kind, but you also have to be firm. You have to follow through, and you have to work together as a couple to make sure that or if you're a single foster parent, you just have to be consistent. You can't falter. The rule is the rule, and that's the end of it. And there has to be that consequence that goes along with it. So I mean that process was difficult because it's like, we had you for 8 months, and here, like, you should know this stuff by now. But really, should they know it? Because they have gone back and they've spent that time back in the environment that they were in before, which is what they were raised in. So it's going to be easier to revert just back to that versus going and doing something that they did for 8 months, which is, in the grand scheme of things, if you're in that age group of like 4 to 8, if anywhere in there, when you were raised in that kind of environment, it's going to take longer for you to understand that yelling and screaming at each other in the house, and taking things and breaking it or saying awful things about your sibling is not an okay thing to do. And we don't allow it here. But that's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a while. It's not just going to take a week or a month. It's going to take a while. And then if the transition happens back into the other home, and then they come back to you, expect it to be right back at square one.
So when our friends came here, friend A was very well. The first day, obviously, both friends were very upset that they were removed again, obviously. But after that moment, after they got back into our home and we, started at square one, just like Nick was talking about, and we got back into the same rhythm as we did before, our friend A was very adamant about not wanting to return with Bio Family. And in just a few minutes, Nick is going to talk about how we approached that, because you definitely don't want to encourage that behavior, because you have no idea what is eventually going to happen in their situation. But our friend B was very, very adamant about I'm going home. I'm going to live with my bio family. It's just going to be a couple days. And with friend B, we had, that's the elevated behaviors that I was talking about, some that we didn't quite see before, some mouthiness and some things that we were both like, whoa, this is new. So our friend A would talk to tell anybody who would listen that I want to be adopted. I'm going to run if they come here. I'm going to hide. Just things that we were both kind of concerned about, because that was not in our friend A's normal behavior. So Nick's going to talk a little bit about that, both of those kind of scenarios and how we worked through that.
So first of all, first rule of thumb is you don't talk about reunification. Bio families are not supposed to talk about it at visits or anything like that, and foster parents are not supposed to talk about reunification, because nobody knows when it's going to happen. Nobody knows what judges are going to say, or or what the plan is going to end up being, or unforeseen circumstances. So that you do not talk about reunification. You usually the best thing that you can do when if you have, like, friend A that says, I want to be adopted, I don't want to go back. Or friend B who says, I'm not staying here, it's only going to be a couple days, they're going to come back and they're going to get me and I'm going to go back and live with them. And the best thing that you can do is say, we don't know what the judge is going to say. We don't have control, and we don't know. Put it all back on the judge. That's all you can do. It's safest emotionally for the kids that way too, and actually it's safest for you as well, as their foster parents. So you're not diluting what the actual reality is going to be, by either saying, well, that's okay, you don't have to go live with them and I'm going to adopt you, or well, yeah, they're getting better and you're going to go back and you're going to live there in just a couple of days. Bad choice. Don't do it. So there's that, first of all. I want to kind of talk about, and honestly, that's probably the best way that you can cover friend B's adamant about, I'm not staying here. I'm going back and I'm going to live there and you can't make me. We don't have a choice. The judge told us that you have to stay here, so let's have some fun while you're here. That's probably the best way that you can kind of conquer that and get rid of that.
I'm gonna throw one thing in there too, and then just reaffirm, just reaffirm with them that if the judge were to say, like, yeah, it's okay, it's time to go home, bio family is at the top of their game. We do tell them that, when the judge says that it's time for you to go home, we will make sure you go there. You can trust us, and you know that if the judge says it's time for you to go home, we will pack you up and we will bring you there. We will make sure of that. And that also really makes them feel much better about that situation too. Because again, you're still putting it back on the judge, but you're not telling them, like, yes, you are going to go back, and or no, it's not. You're just telling them, when it is time, we will make sure that you go. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with that, but.
And then the second thing that I kind of want to talk about is the other flip side of the coin, where the child may say, I want to be adopted. I don't want to go back and live with them. I want to stay here. I want you to be my parents, and I don't, nobody loves me there, and everybody's horrible. And that one's hard. That one's really, really hard, because obviously they wouldn't be saying some of that stuff if some of it weren't true. Some of it could be manipulation as well, so you got to kind of watch out for that. But you don't want to encourage and say things like, oh, well, yeah, your bio family can't take care of you like I can take care of you, and of course you're gonna get to stay here, and yeah, we're not gonna let you go. And that's probably one of the worst things that you can do, because then when it comes time, if they do have to go, you're the one that looks like a liar. And you're the one that's going to let them down, because you're going to have told them, yeah, you're going to stay here, we're going to take care of you, we're going to adopt you, we're going to keep you, and you're not keeping your promise. Yet again, another person in their life who hasn't kept a promise, or told them they were going to do something and then didn't do it. So you have to try really hard not to feed into that, and not to, as much as you want to keep them and love them forever and call them yours, you got to be really, really careful. And you have to say, the best way that we, again, combat that is, we don't know what the judge is going to say. We have no idea. If that time comes and the judge says, well, it's not safe for you to go home, and we don't think it's probably ever going to be safe for you to go home, then yes, absolutely, you're always welcome here. But if the judge says it's time for you to go home, you have to go home. And we know that you can do it. You're brave, and you're smart, and we know that that your bio family loves you, and that your parents are working on things. They're working on getting better for you, so that you can go and live with them. So when it's time for you to return, things might be a little bit different than what you knew before. So give them a little bit of hope in that way, but also reassure them that if that time comes, or if that time comes, then of course you'll be there for them. You'll be there for them even if they have to return home and they don't want to. And another thing that you can, if they just don't feel any peace from that, if they just continue and continue and continue, make sure you tell them to have an outlet. I'm always here to listen to anything that you want to tell me. We are on your side. We're here for you. You can also tell your therapists, or if they have any type of services or anything like that,
or a CASA.
Tell them how you're feeling, and that seems to put their mind at ease as well, and just be there with them. And so I think the big takeaway from everything that I was saying was, don't talk about reunification. It keeps them safe, it keeps you safe, it keeps them at ease, and it also keeps you at ease too, because remember, the goal of fostering is to reunify. And we know, because we're a pre-adoptive home, we would love to adopt any of the kids that come into our home, but when you're a foster parent, the goal is to reunify. And then you'll also find that your bond will grow stronger with them, because you're not working against their parents, and telling them that their parents are bad people. you're on the same side as their parents and you want them to be reunified, but if anything were to happen, you would be there for them. So, and that's actually going to be our next video is going to be about, which I think we said a little while ago we were going to upload one about about rooting for bio parents. It's been a hectic time. We actually just lost a dear family member, so that's why we didn't get to this video right away. So, stay tuned.
And with that being said, don't forget to pray,
Have faith,
and press on.